after we've taken all that information, then the petitioner always has the right to have the final word. So the petitioner can respond to the issues that have been raised if there's opposition. Following that, then the meeting posted to the public for a brief period of time while we discuss the case and come to some resolution. We do have a bit of paperwork we have to fill out after each case, so there'll be a little bit of a delay while we do that. And then Matt will call the next case. So that.
All right. A couple of housekeeping items. Just first off, if you do have your cell phone with you, if you would please turn it down or off. It does get distracting during the hearing while we're doing the presentation. Second, if you do have a case today that requires a permit and is approved, they don't know what's happening in the office, so don't go straight over. They can't issue permit until we get back with the files, so at earliest this afternoon. You can always apply online as well if you want to get that going. Otherwise, with that, we can start off at the top of the agenda, and we do have a number of continued cases. The first one we have is continued as the case exception 2025-78 for Lamar Lost, and this is a petition for exception for the purpose of allowing storage warehousing in an ag district. Project is located on the west side of Old 15 and 0 feet south of 1300 North in Van Buren Township. If you remember right, we're right up there just south of the new overpass, and this one was continued for a number of different items. One being a detailed site plan showing us what we're dealing with, setbacks were going to be an issue. We also there were some questions or concerns about where that south property line was and the potential encroachment onto the property with the drive. I think his representatives here is going to give us a little bit of an update and look for possibly a continuance. So with that, we are properly advertised from the last meeting. Good to go.
Steve Snyder, on behalf of the petitioner, as Matt indicated, it's been continued several times because there were questions. I think those questions have now been resolved. We've got an easement along the south property line. We found the document that established it so that we can properly locate it. It's nothing more than a driveway into that factory. We've also looked at all the boundary lines on the north, east, and south to make sure what the appropriate setbacks were. I have with me an application for a variance for those setbacks that I'll be filing today. And what we're asking today is to continue this until the November meeting so we can hear the exception and the variance requests at the same time.
So the issues will be addressed at the November meeting to our satisfaction.
Yes. Hopefully to your satisfaction.
They'll be addressed. Let's put it.
The motion then to continue until November.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there anyone here in support of this or anyone in opposition? Okay, so we do have the motion. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So continue.
Okay, that'll be Wednesday, November 12th. So Wednesday, that's a little different just because of Veterans Day is in the middle there. So Wednesday, November 12th, first off the bat. Okay, with that, then we can jump to the next continued case. This is continuance of exception 2025-94 Marcella Mann's. Okay. This is a petition for exception for allowing home-based business auto repair in an ag district. Property is located on the south side of Phil Lake Road and 0 feet west of Sierra 15 in Clay Township. This one was continued for a number of reasons. Video was good. Come on up. If you remember right, there was a number of different items that we were asking for. One was how the organization was operating, because there was question on whether or not who was running the business, who was living on the property, that type of thing. There was also issues with storage of vehicles in the right-of-way, and then they were also going to get us a plan showing what they were proposing in terms of possible storage. We did have some remonstrance with visibility. If you remember right from the original hearing, we're right there. That is the main house on the property. This was the old warehouse building. Auto site right there, and vehicles right there. One of the major issues that was discussed was the parking in the right of way, and they had indicated that it addressed. As of this morning, that red vehicle's still there, and there's actually an additional truck that was parked in there and has been quite a bit. We have nothing more new at this point, so we are still where we're at last hearing, but we are properly advertised, and maybe the petitioner has something more to add.
Okay, well,
Your name, please, for the.
I'm sorry, Marcella Mans. Since I was here the last time, there hasn't been a lot changed. I have been in the hospital 3 times, and I just had heart surgery last Wednesday. And Zach has had family emergencies out of state. As a matter of fact, he's trying to drive back in right now. But there has been some changes. I've decided that I'm going to relocate, and Zach is now living in my house. I'm going to be moving to Connecticut with my fiance, and I'm going to be out of there probably by the end of November, 1st of December. There is still an issue with the 2 vehicles, as he said. They're going to have to be towed, and Zach just hasn't had a chance, but he has made changes. A lot of the vehicles that were there has been moved and taken out because he had a partner, and he was kind of just storing them there. So we got rid of all that. So other than the 2 vehicles that he's mentioned, that's got the issue, everything else is kind of organized. I took some photos this morning. I actually went by Walmart hoping to run them off. But they don't start doing that until 9 this morning. So I couldn't get that for you guys. But this right here is going to be his parking. And he's not going to go back any farther than that. And now that he's living in the house, his personal vehicle will be taken like that. And that's the space it will not be taken anymore. As you see here, he has to somewhat leave the front open to, move the stuff in and out of it. So.
That was this morning, Marcella?
Yes.
Wow, there were 2 trucks parked there at 7:30 this morning.
I just took this before I left this morning.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I did.
I'm not.
No, I did.
And then there was material sitting outside as well.
Yeah, those are contained in proper storage. And he has people comes in and empties that and takes them away. So, they kind of need that, and they need to be where they can get access to them.
Well,
I mean, you can move them in.
aside from that, there was a tire, there's some other parts that were sitting outside.
Yeah.
And I guess in terms of the vehicles, those aren't the only 2. I've been by probably a half a dozen times. There's been different vehicles. There's been vehicles parked on the north side, different ones on the south side, just happened to be east or the south. And I think at the last hearing, he had even indicated everything was out of the right of way. At that hearing, I went by that afternoon. They're still in the right of way.
I know that, but I'm saying this 8 a.m. this morning.
And I agree, there was vehicles parked there, but I guess over the last month, it hasn't shown real good effort to show that he was even compliant, and it almost seems like he kind of led us astray on some of the comments. It's just a very tight area, especially with winter coming up, any vehicles in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's not parking along the roadside anymore. I told him he can't do that.
someone has been.
Well, they should not be anybody out there. They should not be. He's going to be living there. I'm not going to be. And I just hope that you guys can, work with us and try to get this. He's a good young man. His dad is one of the police officers, and I have no problem with that at all. I feel comfortable with him living in my home. But I guess I asked if he still, has a problem with this, can we continue this till next month and give him a little bit more time? Like I said, I've been in the hospital 3 times, and I have my paperwork showing if you want to see it. I was in Lutheran Hospital. So it's been kind of difficult for us.
All right.
But, I guess that's kind of all I got to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone here in support? Anyone in opposition to this? Come forward, please.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm Austin Jones. I own the property that's out there that has the field and all that. After hearing last meeting and seeing the non-improvements they did, I didn't see a load of stone come in there. Still multiple vehicles parked on either side of the road. I've even discussed it with the farmers to see if they had had asked their permission to be parked on that north side, and that's a negative. I mean, he said it was only Monday through Friday business. Doors are all open Saturday, Sunday. He's put out flags for looking for part-time help. I'm curious where they would park at. I haven't seen any improvement. I mean, I understand her health issues, but there's plenty of people on that property that could have moved some stuff around. I mean, there's still plenty of bodies around there. So that's all I got to kind of follow up with. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else?
One thing I gotta say is this,
Just come forward. Anyone else in opposition?
this young man doesn't even live on my road. He has to make an appointment to drive by there. And I just think that he is picking at the situation. He lives on State Road 15. I live on Hill Lake Road. And nothing that goes on over there should concern him. You know, I have neighbors that are on down the road. Nobody complains. But him and his mother seem to make it a point to make what I do on my property their business. And I do not do that to them. I mind my own business. But gentlemen, he does not live close enough that anything that goes on there should not be his business.
I would kind of disagree with that because he can see the back here. You can see it from his property. I made a point to stop, walk up to the property, look through. You can see the backside of where the vehicles are parked.
Well, what would that really bother him?
Well,
I mean, seriously,
I guess I'm just saying,
does he need to stand out there and stare? Seriously? He doesn't.
Okay, thank you. You may be seated. All right, discussion. I mean, this case has a lot of problems that have not been addressed. And that, I think, puts this into a very tenuous kind of situation. There are extenuating circumstances that we should continue, or perhaps there are medical issues, personal issues. So I would personally be in favor of continuing it. However, the young man needs to come in and sit down with Matt so that Matt can clearly explain what has to change by the time of the November meeting. That's my feeling on it anyway. So other thoughts on this?
I think it should be the last.
Yeah. One last chance, the way I look at it.
Cleaned up and taken care of.
Yeah. Okay, so,
I'll make a motion and then continue till November.
And this will be the last.
And this will be the last.
I'll second that.
okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So Marcella, when I have him come in and talk to me,
Okay.
call me, make an appointment. I'm
As
gonna
soon
be,
as possible.
yeah, so I will, detail out, like he can do on his part is get it as cleaned up as possible. Because if we keep seeing the continual, what's there in last month, I can pretty well guess where this is gonna end up. So,
Right.
just have me get a hold of me as soon as possible. Otherwise, it's gonna come back November 12th, Wednesday in the morning, second on
Do
the,
you have a card?
not with me, but it's in the same office file.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, last continued cases we have, we here together, slightly different questions, same property. It's Isaac Miller here. Okay. This is continuance of exception 2025-95 Isaac Miller is petition for exception for the purpose of home-based business in ag district. Properties located on the north side, 1250 north and 2650 feet east of 300 west in Jefferson Township. Along with that, we have variance 2025-41 for Isaac Miller. This would be a variance to permit allowing a 60 square foot sign for a home-based business where 24 is allowed by ordinance. Right there's the property in question. If you remember right, this was continued for the petitioner in order for him to get with us after the last meeting to talk through what kind of improvements could be made that may help the situation. If you remember right, the petitioner has a lumber business out there, and we had actually got complaints before he even filed from a number of people. Bus driver who almost got a head-on hit because of semi-traffic, other folks who have come up on semis parked on the road. Since that hearing, we've actually received another complaint about a semi parked on the road in the dark. That luckily nothing happened, but I think it just goes to the point. Since that last hearing, we have not heard anything. I know Mr. Miller did call in last night at 4:40. I did not get the call. It was 4:30. So at this point, that rack right there behind the sign, that is one thing I did go by and saw it had been moved. Beyond that, no other changes to my knowledge.
Show the hill.
Yes, the next here, so you can see the hill right there. And one of the major issues that was discussed at the last hearing was deliveries. Semis are pulling in and having to back straight out into the road. There's a blind hill coming over that, especially at night. Semis are also parking along the road when they get there early, waiting for deliveries. It sounds like all creating some major traffic concerns. For the original hearing, half-day surrounding neighbors were notified and legal action probably.
My name is Isaac Miller, and yeah, I got a drawing here of what I'm planning on doing.
Would have been nice to have that earlier, Isaac. And like they indicated, they wanted that.
I guess I didn't realize that. Yeah, I needed to talk to you about this beforehand.
Okay.
So this is the road right here.
Okay, tell us what you have in mind.
So this is my driveway right here. Here's the rack on the west side.
The road here.
Yeah. This is all meets. I'm planning on taking this all out and making one driveway where the semis can park in here. And those where the semis can park in my drive, just pull in and then pull on out again.
Have you talked to the highway department yet?
I did not. I needed to hear if this can go through.
How about the rack, because the other point was, is there any way to get those racks inside or behind the building? It's screened. Right now, it doesn't look ideal. The whole idea is to try to make this compatible as possible as well.
Well, in the long run, the hoop building that's out there is all going to be set up for lumber storage, and probably on the side of the hoop building. I figured I'd use this side of the hoop building. That way it's kind of screened off.
Long run, how long is long run?
Well, as soon as I can. I mean, a year or two. How much time do we have?
Ideally, 30 days.
30 days.
But if it would even be approved, I guess these are the things we wanted to talk to you about before the work right here in front of the hearing. I don't even know if the highway department will give you a second drive off of that.
Well, there is a drive there. I guess I don't know if it's on. There's a ramp that comes off, like right there where your truck is at.
That's not a drive. If they gave you an official drive, because they're going to be looking at the same thing as we are, safety and concerns.
Mhm.
How about deliveries at night? I mean, that was the other thing that we're hearing.
Well, then we're gonna have to set a delivery time that the semis can show up between so and so hours, and that can easily be done.
I think, I think that the immediate concern is the safety issue. There are other issues here. And you got a big problem here because if you have a school bus full of kids involved in an accident because of the semi, you're gonna have big problems, okay?
Mhm.
So, we'd like to work with you. We'd like you, you know, we don't want to put you out of business. But you gotta work with us and you gotta get on this very quickly. So, you know, at
So
the
that-
very least, we gotta know the highway's gonna approve this.
Yeah,
You know,
because
before
there's
we,
other drainage issues as well down there. I know there's riser right through there as well.
Yeah.
The semi part is the biggest problem right here, as far as the safety, right?
well,
Big, safety being the number one concern, the others pretty close following in second.
As far as what, like the racking, like the outside storage?
You know, again, home-based business should be pretty innocuous. It's not innocuous.
you said the diesel tank is
It's,
gonna going away.
that's going, that shed that's sitting there is not there anymore. It's all clean, it's cleaned up on the front side. I'd say it's cleaned up pretty good. I mean, I still have that storage out there.
Right where, but the rest of the stuff's south. Just say it's cleaned up, it's just not sitting. The shed's gone and
The shed's gone and my one rack is gone. I still have the storage there in front of the hoop building.
Any other questions? Any questions? All right, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone in support? Anyone in opposition? All right, discussion.
Like, we can hate to do continue. Maybe that. Next step forward is to- I- Yeah, give them a backtrack. Yeah, give them a backtrack.
Yeah, you need to sit down with Matt, ASAP, and make sure.
point out the others and try again.
So you have a motion.
I'll make a motion, continue it 30 days. Make sure that he gets with Matt prior to November 12th. Correct, November 12th. Yes,
And Matt, motion.
yes, he must have the driveway approval from the highway.
Second, any discussion? All fair say aye.
Okay. Clear on what they're expecting.
Well, I need to sit down and
Come on up. Okay, so what they want you to do is give me a call, set up an appointment to come in. We'll go over your plan. Also want you to reach out to the highway department, talk to them about that second drive area.
Okay.
See what, if that's an option. If it's not, then you're gonna need to pivot and maybe come up with a different option there.
Okay.
And I'd say what would go a long way is us not receiving calls in the next 30 days about semis parked along the road.
Right.
Because if we keep getting those, that's a safety issue. These guys probably, if you can't control that now, it'll be hard for them so they control it later.
I guess I got one load of lumber since the last meeting.
Yeah, I don't know when it was, or I just received a call and I make note of it.
Yeah. He never parked on the road. I don't know where that came from. He backed right in. I told him to back in so he doesn't have to back out on the road.
I can only respond to what I wasn't out there to see it, so I guess just keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right, and then I'll look for a call from you.
Okay.
All right. All right, moving right along. Is anyone here for Eisenberg? I didn't believe they got any of their paperwork out, but Eisenberg actually lost, so we don't have to worry about Eisenberg. Okay, with that, then the next one we can move on to is exception 2025-103 for Erica and Cotner. And this petition for exception for the purpose of allowing chickens to remain due to medical issues with homeowners' diet in a residential district. Property is located on the west side of Syracuse West Road and 0 feet west of Pickwick Drive in Cherry Creek Township. We can get the video caught up here for a minute. Right there is the property in question. We are right outside the town of Syracuse. Syracuse is actually right here. This is the corner of Syracuse Western and Fox Run. You take that back, it goes back to Fox Run subdivision. Petitioners do have chickens, and we were notified through a complaint after notifying the petitioners they have filed for the hearing to be able to allow to have chickens in a residential district. Getting right outside petitioner's house right there. To the back.
Oh, that's recent.
That road would go back to Fox Run subdivision. This is Gray Fox, so these two lots are not in Fox Run. Looking to the north, you can see the high school.
That white truck's no longer there, which is actually in my driveway.
Syracuse on the east side of the road. And you're around. For this hearing, legal ad did appear in the newspaper and by affidavit, surrounding owners were notified.
Property in question is residential.
Yes, it is owned residential, it has a 2-lot residential subdivision.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't aware of until this complaint came in. Oh, Eric Cotner. Yeah.
Clayton Roar.
Well, up until the complaint came through, I wasn't aware that we were considered residential because our house is in county. We're just following suit with what the previous owners, when we bought the property in 2019, the coop was already existing. They already had chickens and ducks on the property, and we just continued that for the last 5 years. When the complaint came through and the chicken in the road, it was very rare that the chickens got out that day. But since then, we have put new locks on the doors, not let them out, and done our part to keep the chickens contained. I think my ruling is that we don't live within section of we don't sell our eggs or anything, and we don't live within
a
mile or so of any chicken poultry farm operations. So I'm just asking that we take those considerations and we allow to continue what we've been doing.
The town of Syracuse.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
They did not give us any input officially. The reason I mentioned it, the town is surrounded.
But the town.
Well, it doesn't surround
Town of
us.
Syracuse did not allow that. Correct. Or animals in that.
Fox Run is in Fox Run County. That's county. So technically it'd be the road right there where the red line is to the east there, and then the school side, which would be the north of us. Everything else around us is county. We are the first property of the county line. And actually, the complaint that came in, the photo was taken in May, and they didn't file the complaint until August. So that was like 4 months later that they had took a photo of a chicken in the road. That chicken is now dead. So it's not a issue anymore.
I guess regardless, you still have chicken, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, we still have chickens.
But the complaint was they were in the road.
How many chickens?
6.
We have 6 chickens currently.
And as far as we knew, the owners prior to us, they were there for like 11 to 12 years. They had chickens the whole time they ever lived there too. So, I mean, the house was built in 1850. So I'm assuming chickens probably been on the property its whole life.
Any questions? Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Anyone in support?
You do have one letter that Randy's reading right there, and then just a letter from Christy Hitchcock, and you can just explain first things.
Hi, I'm Susan Klein, and I live directly behind the Cotners. We're on the opposite side of the white fence. We have no problems with the chickens. I go in and out. If I have seen chickens on the road, it's not been a problem. They would scatter. They've been very respectful as far as keeping their chickens. as I see it. They've been very respectful in keeping them in their area. I enjoy them, so it is not a problem for me. So I do support keeping the chickens on their property.
Okay,
So
thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyone else in support? Anyone in opposition? All right. Discussion. Yeah, well,
In Elkhart County and in Grange County.
I'll make a motion to deny the chickens in a residential area.
is there a second? Discussion?
Can anybody support this? Like anybody?
Too late now, you're up.
Oh, sorry, first time here.
But when I ask if anyone in support,
Okay.
that means come forward. And
Can you move your microphones up, please, where we can hear what you're saying? We can't hear nothing back here. I don't think I'm alone at that, am I?
Correct. We can't hear.
All right, so some of you people wanted to speak in support. Are you here to speak in support of the chickens?
Well, we'd like to support the chicken people now.
I don't think.
All right, we have a motion on the table to deny. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
Okay, that said, just for clarification for staff, typically we give 30 days to come into compliance. Do you want to hold them to that 30 days or do you want to give them, well, it's not.
30 days is
Okay.
plenty in my book.
All right. All right, next variance we can take up is variance 2025-256 for Dollar General, the Edmund Green. And this is petition for variance to permit allowing a new retail business, Dollar General. They have 35 parking spaces when the ordinance requires 106 in a commercial district. Property is located on the north side of Pole 30 and 0 feet west of 800 West in Edmond Township. Right there's property in question. We're right on the intersection of 800 and 30. If you know where Crazy Joe's fireworks are, go to the south intersection. That is zone commercial. So Dollar General is a retail operation, which is a permitted use. You're looking north, you see right there. So the use itself is not in question. That is permitted use. What they're asking for is relief from the parking requirements. So our parking requirements, as we've discussed in the past, are based off the size of the building and the square footage. Based off the size of their commercial proposed building, they would require 106 commercial sites, parking spaces. They're asking to have 35. Looking around, I can imagine that building right there would be the site plan that's shown right there. Is anyone here? Come on up. For this hearing, legal I did properly appear in the newspaper and by affidavit, so I get
Get an overhead of the,
Yeah.
shows the.
we are properly advertised.
Hello, I'm Dave Peters with Chamlin Associates representing Overland Engineering. Like you said, the code requires about 106 spots. We have 35 in the plan that we put on about all our stores. Even at peak hour, usually only about 10 to 15 of those are full at one time. Being the business model of Dollar General, people kind of go in, get what they need and go out. So we feel that the 106 wouldn't be possible for a plan this size, and 35 should meet the needs. and we request to have those 35.
Again, just for clarity,
Yes, sir.
your other stores use 35.
Yeah, we have about 4 or 5. This one's a prototype C store, which is 10,640 square feet. We have about 3 to 4 different prototypes that we traditionally put in this area, and all of them are about 35 to 38 spots, whatever we can fit with the site plan.
Any questions?
Semi-traffic?
Yeah, the only semis we have come in would be off the south entrance here, and the way the parking lot's built is that they can back in with no problems with the radius.
Can you show us?
Yes, the entrance is right here off of old US 30. And so we build these radiuses enough where they can swing in here, back up, unload, and then back right out.
Back out?
No, let's see, they'll pull in, usually they'll park over here, back up, unload about right here, and then pull forward out.
Okay.
Yeah. That'd be a tough backup.
I think the concern just comes from that semis aren't being taken up those 35 spaces.
Oh, yes, sure, gotcha. They'll be there, yeah, over here. It's kind of where the storage is, where the entrance is, so they'll come in, back up, unload, and then just go right out. So they'll be over here, and then the other 35. There's 4 spaces here, and then the rest of them are out here on each side.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone in support? Anyone in opposition? Okay, what's your pleasure?
I move to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Send the semi back in.
That's
Oh,
the key
yeah,
that the
back.
semis are held.
Yeah.
Can we get a second, then we can discuss it?
I'll second it.
Okay, now discussion. So got an issue here.
No.
Okay.
We're looking at the main entrance.
That's right there on Old 30.
That's an entrance. Is there another?
No.
That is it.
That is it. And I should say this, we did have some preliminary discussions with the highway department, and this does reflect those discussions, because originally there was a drive lane here. We said, no way.
That's why
And so that was moved over, pushed as far west as possible, and we see a turn lane that will be installed as well.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
All right. The next case is exception 2025-105 for Charles Souders, and this is petition for exception for the purpose of allowing farm animals, cows, goats, and chickens in a residential district. Property is located on the east side of Packard Road and 1,696 feet north of County Road 225 South in Wayne Township. Right here is the property in question. This is actually the southern end. You can see the drive going back, kind of on the left-hand side, you can see the petitioner's house. This is a tract of ground that is only residential. What they are asking is to allow for live animals, cows, chickens, goats. Looking south on Packard Road, this would be Winona Lake on the west side. So the corporate limits is right down the middle of the road. Looking to north, one house, and then Cherry Creek Estates just on the backside. Ultimately, the site plan is going to show it a little bit better. What they're proposing is, I believe, to split the property up, and then part of that property would be utilized for the animals itself. So ultimately, looking for exception for goats, chickens, and cows in a residential district. For this hearing, legal ad did properly appear in the newspaper and in my affidavits.
I'm going to recuse myself from this case, so Randy will chair this case.
Come on up.
Yes, I'm Charles Sodders. Have lived at this address for going on 50 years. And I have 4 or 5 pole barn buildings. And the area that we're looking on is the right-hand side. It was.
He'll come back.
Okay. The L shape, could I have your pointer? Thank you. The area that we're looking at is right in here. This is a pole barn out here. This is my daughter's house up here. This is agricultural, Dar's hayfield. Tanner's is right here. This is 6.23 acres that is zoned agriculture. And what I'd like to make a question here to make sure it's on the official record, that this is already zoned agriculture. And I could put animals back there today if I want to.
Yes, as discussed in the office, that tract is agricultural with everything west of that and north of that being residential.
Yeah, right. So there wouldn't be nothing wrong with me developing this, put a few animals back there. We're not talking about a herd. We're talking about 2 or 3. I guess they call them Scottish Highland miniature cows. They're more like, somebody said, well, you're going to have a pet farm back there. Well, they're more pets than they're not for food. We're not doing any raising for food. Right now, the people who would like to buy this live down in here. And they clean the barn out every week. They wash the cows down every week. So it's not some big, how should I say it, endeavor there. But I did like to thank Mr. Sands by saying, yes, this is agriculture and I can do what I want with it. But I'm asking just to put this area right here, and this could be moved back right to there. Okay?
Charles, from my understanding, this is not for you. You're looking at this for a potential buyer.
This, yes.
We've been getting conflicting information. That's why I'm asking you here. So this is being, so you have a sale pending, and this is one of the conditions of the sale?
No.
House, is the sale in the works?
No.
Is the sale with the house and the whole property?
The people who are interested, like I said, live down here, and I don't plan on selling any of this, for 2 or 3 years. First of all, they don't have the money for a down payment that they're going to scrape together. Now, if I die tomorrow, in my will, it says they have 90 days to get financing. They've already been pre-approved financing, okay? If I live 2 or 3 years, nothing changes. In the year September 2028, I will try to sell this to them, okay? With the idea that once they take possession, they could have animals here and possibly move back here. If this is approved, they have no idea of moving back here. And I don't have any idea to do that either. Okay? So it's not that it's gonna be, the cows are gonna be there by next weekend. If I live 2 more years, it'd be 2 more years. But we need to plan ahead.
Okay. In terms of the sale, they're buying the ag land too?
Randy, there
Yes.
are no terms of this.
Well,
Yeah.
what he's
Oh,
projecting,
okay.
Yes,
they're buying the whole lot.
yes,
So
So your house, the barns, and the back
right.
is
so
what,
there'd be no reason for them to not use the back that's agriculture and keep the residential residential.
And that's a possibility. Yes. However you vote, if you were to vote no, which I hope you would not do, but if this is no up here, this is a yes back here.
that's one concern just from the standpoint. You know, typically when we're looking at these, it's with a pending sale, and this is the condition to make the sale close. Here we're talking 2-3 years that it might happen. And there's a lot that can happen in those 2 to 3 years with this potential buyer. You know, hopefully it's more than 2-3 years that Mr. Sauer's around. So that, you know, we could be longer, 4 or 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be. But that's the part that's a little concerning, is we could end up with a different set of owners once the approval comes in that can't make the same commitments.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned you'd lived there 50 years.
50 years next summer.
Has there been livestock on the property before that?
I've had chickens for personal use a couple of times, but I've never raised any animals back there, except a herd of cats.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you, sir.
all right, thank you.
Is there anyone here in favor of this?
Think of none.
Is there anyone here opposed?
So we do have,
Come forward.
in addition to that,
Names.
we do have a number of letters. One is from Rick Bosman. And I know I did pass these along, ones from Ryan sorry. One is from Kip and Sandy Shooter. And then the last one is in regards from Darren Webster.
Good morning, I'm Bill Carr, and my property is to the east of what is in question. The notice I received just dealt with the residential. I don't know if that was, okay. I did a little research. Utah State University, University of Nebraska, Oklahoma State, and the backyardherds.com. The only information I had at the beginning of this process was that there were going to be 2 cows. So in research, people that have 2 cows usually have about 8 goats and 20 chickens. So those are the parameters that I'm going to have for my remarks. My first concern is the amount of manure. Nice thing to talk about on Tuesday morning, but and I'm going to be talking about averages. I didn't know which breed is proposed, you know, if it's a large cow, small cow, and so forth. So I'm using averages based on these institutions. An average cow produces about 65 pounds of manure a day, and it doesn't include bedding. So if you have 2 cows, for a year, that produces 47,450 pounds of manure. Goats produce about 6.2 pounds of manure per day, times 8 times 365, you're looking at 18,396 pounds of manure. Chickens, both considering layers and broilers, average about 0.46 pounds of manure a day. And 20 chickens times 365, 3,358 pounds of manure. So on this particular plot, if you go with averages, we're looking at 69,204 pounds of manure being produced by those animals. Now, you described the adjoining as residential south or residential north, and then Cherry Creek Manor is also to the north, and to the west is Southtown and Winona Lake. One concern is odors. And once again, these are from the same sources that I gave you earlier. You can smell a cow, if you choose to do that, between 640 feet and a mile. So if you draw your circle there, that's about all those additions. Goats, you can smell anywhere from 300 feet to a mile. Chickens, 200 to 300 feet. Now, sounds. You can hear a cow anywhere from 1,640 feet to a mile. Goats, 700 to 1,200 feet. A rooster, 1/2 to 2 miles. Hens, about 200 feet. And of course, a lot of this, if you go back to high school science, depends on the wind speed, the wind direction, the humidity, the temperature of the terrain, and of course, the manure, the amount of material. So obviously, what they're proposing is not fiberglass cows, fiberglass goats, and ceramic chickens. These are animals that produce manure and odors, and of course, attract flies. And we have the potential of 24 hours, 7 days a week, sounds of mooing, bleating, and crowing. I would respectfully ask that you reject this proposal.
Anyone else in?
I'm Gary Tanner, and I live in the property just south of this on Packerton Road, 1884 South Packerton Road. And when Chuck first mentioned to me this situation, I told him, I said, well, I suppose it would be okay. Then we got to thinking about it. And because in the 70s and 80s, we had horses and a goat. And we remember we experienced the smell and the flies. In fact, my wife got so good at catching flies, she could catch flies today now. But we got to thinking about that, and there are concerns. The other thing is, animals get out. I experienced that in the middle of the night. We've got horses out on Packerton Road. Well, how did that happen? We get up and got oats and got one in and tied one to a swing set and went and got the other, and he went into the gate, but going in, kicks the gate, and the gate goes boing, 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 and the horse rear pulled the swing set over and took off running, pulling the swing set down Packerton Road in the middle of the night. Now, that's a dangerous situation. Animals get out. That's goats. I had a goat, and I hear a noise going on. The goat was around my garage. My garage door was open. I look in, and this goat is on top of my car, jumping up and down in my garage. And so we got rid of the goat. But they jump, they get out, animals get out. And so that's another dimension here other than the smell and the flies. And the one last thing I'll say is that anybody is looking to sell their residential property and their animals next door, they're the pool to draw potential buyers from is much reduced because most people wouldn't want to be in a residence that's next to animals like that.
Anyone else opposed? Close the meeting. Charles, you want to respond to any of that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Bill Dorr for that very informative report on stuff. Okay? That had a lot of stuff in it. And we know about the hazard of animals getting loose. These are small miniature cows, not a horse. Okay, so there is a difference there. And if you go down and look at the fence that they have already at their other property that they're renting, it's not the regular fence that I would, I'm familiar with. This is heavy gauge steel fence, 5 foot tall, and so it's a little bit different than just the fence that we see at the back of our property that's been there for 60 or 70 years or whatever. So, but I am prepared to say we're moving ahead. That's 6 acres. Just want the people know. I'll be back there tomorrow, cleaning out the brush. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll close the meeting to public comment. What's your pleasure? Okay, 'cause, yeah, 6.
But
Okay, we have a motion, have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion to deny is carried.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next variance we can take up is variance 2025-259 for Donald Dato. And this petition for variance to a permit allowing the garage to remain 16.9 feet from the right of way of the road. Permit was issued at 27. Property is located on the east side of Chapman Lake Drive, 320 feet south of C-19 lane in Plain Township. Back in 2023, August of 2023 actually, contractor came in, obtained a permit for a detached accessory building. And at that time, it was going to be 27 feet back from the road right away. We're along Chapman Lake Drive with sewer, minimum setback would be 25 feet. Through our follow-up inspections of the garage, it came, it appeared to be quite a bit closer. And after the contractor did get a hold of us, the site plan provided does show that the garage is actually built at 16.9 feet from the right of way of the road, about 10 feet closer than the permit was issued. Minimum setback would be 25, so still closer than the minimum setback. With that, then they are requesting to allow the garage to remain as built. Right there's the garage question, and as noted, we are along Chapman Lake Drive. Truck is actually extending into the right of way. Old garage on the property that sits back just a hair further. You can see an old steam iron at the corner there by the pump. looking down Chapman Lake Drive, across the road to the petitioner's homes in Lakeside. Looking up to the curve. And there's, next chance is gonna give you a little bit of perspective. There's the iron I mentioned there. Old garage, new garage. I think with the truck there. And the final shots is gonna be at the corner of the new garage, giving you perspective where that sits in relationship to the old. So right now I'm standing at the corner of the new garage. It extends a hair further out than the old garage did itself. For this hearing, legal ad did properly appear in the newspaper and by affidavit. Surrounding owners were notified.
Okay, let the record show I'm rejoining the meeting. Okay, so, sir, your name,
I'm
please.
Aaron Miller. We're the general contractor with this property. We built the new home across the road first, and then we wanted the pole barn. And it's not the owner's request and not the owner's fault. It's our fault. I'm not sure how that happened, to tell you the truth. Not sure why it didn't get questioned by the excavator or whoever. It's our fault. Definitely not the owner's fault. Wasn't our intention. It seems to me like the road might be a little bit to the left of the road right away. Maybe that's why nobody ever questioned it. There's a little more distance there. I don't know. But here we are. I guess you guys tell us what, if it can be okayed or what we need to do.
Any questions? Anyone here in support?
We do have one letter of support from Richard and Lana Kosciusko, and just saying their support for the garage main.
Okay. Anyone in opposition? All right. Discussion?
Sounds like a mistake.
Yeah. What's your point?
Useless, I think, try to tear it down, move it back.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second it, but I want to add, there'll be an after the fact permit fee.
Automatic.
I agree.
Okay. All right. So you heard the addition to the motion that's there. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's approved. Now there's a question of any consequence because of this error. So any discussion on that? Okay.
Book or two, pretty easy. What got me seeing it out there was the iron that.
This is the first time. What does? Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to propose a settlement?
I think it's an order.
I'd recommend, I know we've got a figure here, I'd recommend 5,000. So, it's kind of sad.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? We can negotiate that. I think that's too much, not enough. Okay. All right, so we make a motion that we propose a settlement of $5,000. And Matt will explain that. It's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So they did approve variance. We'll have to get a new permit. Sure. $25 permit fee. They also are proposing a settlement of $5,000 in lieu of pursuing violation for every day it's been in violation.
Sure.
We'll have paperwork. If you accept that, then you just bring in, pay the settlement, and that would take care of it. If not, then we would have to pursue it.
And then we discuss that.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for not hurting my homeowner. It wasn't their fault. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. For David.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you're right. No, sorry. All right, so the next two, we can take together the same property, slightly different questions. First one is exception 2025-106 for Aaron Schwartz. And this petition for exception for the purpose of change and alteration and granted exception 2539 by allowing an addition to the existing building 31.66 feet to the road right away in the ag district. Property is located on the south side of 850 north and 1650 feet west of 700 west in Scott Township. Along with that, we have variance 2025-262 for Aaron Schwartz, and that's the variance portion that would permit the construction of that addition to be 31.7 feet from the right of way, 31.66 really. The property is located on the south side of 850 north and 1650 west of 700 west in Plain Town or Scott Township. Right there is the property in question. Should look familiar. Back in early spring, we had hearings to allow for the home-based business. At that time, that building was constructed, was allowed to remain as constructed. The original permit called for it to be 100 foot off. It ended up being 35. Exception was granted. Building was allowed to remain there as it sits. District is now back in wanting to put an addition on that north side, right about where that semi-trailer is. And that addition would be 31.6 feet from the right of way. Minimum setback's 50 feet. Existing building's 35, so we're wanting to come out a little bit more with a additional lean-to. In the property petitioner's house, semi-associated business assembly, other materials sitting out and about. There will freeze it. So again, if you can imagine an addition coming out on that side, that would bring in 31.66 feet of the road right. For both hearings, legal I did properly appear in the newspaper and by affidavit, sorry, we were notified.
Yeah, I'm Aaron Schwartz. I guess, yeah, as you can see, we need more room. So with all the stuff sitting outside there, that stuff needs to get inside. So that's pretty much what we're asking for.
Aaron, any way to reconfigure it so that we're not, the existing building was built closer to start with. We allow that to stay. Now we're jumping out there a little further. Is there any way to orient it on the back, off to the side, even a separate building for it? Because, yeah, definitely we don't want to see the stuff outside.
Okay, now, what was that on the first building? There was a violation on that.
Yeah, first building should have been 50, because your tract is 3 acres, so that would be a 50-foot setback. They allowed it to remain at 35.
Can we revisit that?
Yeah.
How that came to our attention and so forth?
That came in when he came in petition for it. Well, I'm not 100% sure, but when he petitioned for the hearing for the exception, it was brought up at that moment that
And he'd already built
the
it.
building was already constructed, correct? So
So instead of 100 feet,
it was at 35. Luckily at 35, which
it's supposed to be at 100.
should have been at 50.
Okay, should have been.
Yeah, the original permit was issued at 100.
Okay,
So,
so 50, we gave him 15 feet.
correct.
This kind of sounds like no good deed goes unpunished.
You say it that way, but yeah, doesn't have, yeah, yes.
Okay, nevertheless.
Okay, I guess honestly, I'm confused on what's going on here because I wasn't aware of any of this going on. As far as the not being my 50 feet. Or you're sitting, the shop that's sitting there right now isn't 50 feet from the right of way.
Correct. If you're 31.5 and it's a 17 addition. It's not 50, yeah. Where do you think the right of way is?
Well, I guess, I think, or from what we found, we thought it was like about 12 feet in from the edge of the road.
Closer than that, I think. So, and the existing building is legal. We approved it with the exception that.
But he had to come here for that.
Yeah, the exception was approved back in
April.
April, yes.
But he appeared before us in April.
Yes, yeah. And we approved everything to remain as was.
Okay, so
Yeah.
So why can't you even it up with the existing building?
You're saying keep going east with it.
So that would be 3 feet farther ahead.
If it was built where the original permit way back, would have had lots of room. Now you've kind of cornered yourself into a spot. You have a lot of room to expand.
Okay,
And I'm glad you're doing well and need that expansion already. And hope you do better and more.
okay.
But you can see kind of the concern.
Yeah, I mean, so pretty much what you're saying is I didn't have the right mark for my right of way with the building that I built there.
Building that's there now, fine, legal can stay.
Okay,
We're not
okay.
taking that back, that's there.
Mhm.
We're looking at the addition now.
But it should have been back first.
Mhm.
And then you would have had full roof.
So I guess, I mean, with the way the building's laying, going east with it, it won't benefit the flow of production. So, I mean, pretty much what we're needing, because right between, if you're looking at the east end, which obviously you can't, yeah, right in there, that's where our pinch point's at with the production.
Side here.
Not really. So yeah, I guess that's all I've got really.
It really needs to come off that side. Oh, yeah, right there.
Okay.
You really should build the full length of it, take your maximum.
You're saying the full length of it. Well, the reason we're not doing it is because of our ever makeup system that's sitting out front. That's why we only applied for the 30 some feet or whatever.
we gave you another month to consider options and maybe talk to Matt. Would that be of help rather than trying to deal with this all today? Would that give you some time to maybe read?
Well, I mean,
Is there any option to pick up some ground? Okay,
no. No, it's not.
already tried.
Yeah. No. See, I guess, I mean, I don't really know at this point that we'll move ahead with it if this doesn't go through or whatever, so.
Well, any other questions? Mr. Schwartz? Okay, thank you. Anyone in support? Anyone in opposition? All right, discussion. Well, yeah, I mean, here again, we got a businessman that's trying to do his best, and he's doing well apparently, and wants to expand his business. But you know, hard for us to tell him how to do his business. We got a little problem here, so that's why I was thinking another month. Maybe it would help to sort this out, maybe not.
Maybe you can figure out how to gain that.
Or yeah, at least
Be at least 35 feet.
At least explain why nothing else is going to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Why that
saying?
4 feet has to be there.
Maybe that space could be reconfigured some way to meet. I don't know. I'd like to give him another shot. So I move to continue it for a month.
I'd second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Continue.
Mr. Schwartz? Okay, so they continue till November 12th. And I think that's with the hope of maybe taking some time looking at it. Maybe there's some options you haven't been able to think through to come up with a different configuration or maybe some other groove that could work into it. I think here they want to work with you, but they also, there's a balance there. So feel free to get a hold of me. You can come in, we'll talk through it, see if there's another potential that could come up.
Okay.
But November 12th, right here, you'll be forth on the agenda.
Okay, so coming out towards the street, is that an option at all? As you said something about 35 feet.
I think you're very tight. The building's what's hemmed you in. And unfortunately, you know, and I get it, you're well, and that's working. Just not a lot of foresight on.
Okay, so, I mean, it's okay, but you're telling me to X out the thought about coming out towards the street.
I'd like to see you try to come up with an option that doesn't include getting closer to that right away.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Yeah, I'll go home and see what I can come up with. We'll go from there.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
3 foot shorter, a bit wider.
All right, next case we can take is variance 2025-265 for Leanne and Kevin Cruiser. And this is a petition for a variance to permit the construction of residence addition 17.4 feet from the right of way of the road and 2.1 feet from the east property. The property is located on the south side of B1 A lane and 800 feet east or west of B1 lane in Big New Township. Right there is the house in question, and as you can see on the opposite side actually, and so there is a corner that they're wanting to fill in. Down the road right there. North. And give you some idea, there's a shed shown on the survey. Corner we're talking about is behind the shed. Just gonna show that corner there. Right there is the corner in question that they want to enclose. And that corner will end up being 17.4 feet from the right of way and 2.1 feet from the side property line. For this hearing, legal identity properly appear in the newspaper and by affidavit surrounding.
Hey, I'm Josh Stutzman. I'm just trying to put a little addition on for him.
The electric entrance and everything.
Yeah, that will actually be put underground. Yeah, so it's approximately 14 foot by 6 foot, small bathroom, laundry room. As stated, the electric would be put under the ground. There'd be one window on it, matching siding, and it's just squaring up the residence.
And Josh, the closest point is at the southeast corner, is that correct? and it starts angling off. Just looking at the survey, it's like angling off.
Yes, so the southeast corner would be, we're not going any closer to the property line than the existing building already is. We're just simply squaring the building up.
And that's to your overhang.
Yes, yes.
Any other questions? Thank you. Anyone in support? Anyone in opposition?
I'll second that.
Have a motion to approve is presented, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. It's approved.
All right, next two, we can take together, same petitioner, same property, slightly different questions. First one is exception 2025-110 for Petrie. And this is a petition for exception for the purpose of allowing construction of an oversized accessory building, 960 square foot, where ordinance allows 700 in a residential district. Property is located on the west side of East Shore Drive, 2,083 feet north of Cornelius Road in Turkey Creek Township. Along with that, it's variance 2025-270 for petition to variance, which would permit construction of residence additions 3.3 feet from the north property line and 4.2 and 5/8 feet from the south property line. Property is located on the west side of East Shore Drive and same location from Cornelius in Turkey Creek Township. Right there's property in question. First question before the board is to allow a detached accessory building that is oversized. You can imagine in the foreground, that's where that accessory building would go. Minimum setback, minimum size would be 720. They want to go up to 960 square foot in a residential district. And along with that, if you look at the site plan, the variance is actually on the house. That garage coming out, they want to square that off, and then on the back side, which will show you, they want additions back there as well. Showing you the video, looking into the property, handing to the north up East Shore, you see other detached accessory buildings. Large one right there. Wetlands off to the east, going down to the south. Back into the property right there, and that building will be right there in the foreground. Now we're on the south side, and that is where they want the 4.2 feet from the side property line. So again, side property line coming out based off site line. Flip around to the lake side, same side, 4.2 showing the pin. Again, you can imagine that line being extended to the east. Around homes along the shore. Okay, that shot's gonna be on the north side, and if you see that area, patio area right there, based off the site plan, that's where that addition will come across in the front part. It shows just that corner. Now we're on the north side line, looking there, and that's where the 3.3 feet setback is between the existing house and the property line. Right there. For both hearings, the newspapers, my affidavits, notified.
Steve Snyder on behalf of the petitioner. We'll start with the detached garage. I think that's a pretty straightforward proposal. This lot is 50 feet wide and 225 feet deep. We have a lot of space. We meet all the requirements with this garage, but with any garage around the lake, the idea is if you can get a boat in it on a trailer, that's just a wonderful thing to happen. And in this case, the width of the garage is not particularly unusual. It's the depth of the garage that increases the square feet. We're dealing with a 24-foot wide structure, but it's 40 feet deep. That's what gives us 960 square feet. We're roughly a 10 by 24 area in addition to what would normally be permitted, but we're still going to be 29 feet 4 inches from the right of way. This is on sewer, so our setback from the right of way is 24 feet or 25 feet. We also have an existing driveway that's available for parking. Plus, we'll have a new driveway going into the garage doors. We'll have plenty of parking. So from the garage standpoint, no significant issues. With the additions to the residence, we're looking to stay in line with the existing house. I talked to the contractor about a couple options, and one reason is we already have the existing setbacks, so we're not really changing anything there. But from a construction standpoint, when you're adding on, as this proposed addition is, if you can extend the sidewalls straight out, one, it allows a better appearance, but two, it allows a simpler construction to take place because you're not offsetting that wall, nor are you changing the roof trusses that are going to be necessary for the roof above the addition. If you look at the existing detail, you can see this house is simply being extended towards the road on the roadside. And the same thing on the family room addition to the lakeside. We're merely extending those out so that we have a straight extension of the sidewalls and make construction easier. If you look at your elements, first of all, from an exception standpoint, we're on table A. The garage is not going to be dangerous. It's going to be compatible with the house and properly landscaped. From the variance standpoint, we're not dangerous. We're the same setback as the existing structure, which has been there since 1972. One of the things to note on the photo of the house is that this house has a 2-foot overhang, and that's going to be maintained, which means that the sidewalls are actually 2 feet further away from the sidelines than that 2-foot overhang. But we're not going to go back and cut off the overhang of the existing house. The measurements simply include that 2-foot overhang, which is probably a foot to a foot and a half more than what you would find on this type of construction. Very typical construction in the 70s, though, with a larger overhang. From a value standpoint, we're enhancing the values in the neighborhood. This is an older 50-year-old residence. We're going to update it, and everything will be made to match from the standpoint of the house and the garage. The practical difficulty is we've got existing setbacks done prior to our zoning ordinance in 1975. Reasonable setbacks by lake standards at 3.5 feet. We can solve some construction issues with extending those sidewalls straight out. We still have a significant amount of space because of the 2-foot overhang on each side of the house, very nearly allowing us to meet a 5-foot setback to the sidewalls, even though the overhang won't meet you.
Accessory building, Steve, is it gonna match the new house in appearance?
The garage? Yeah. Residential type construction on the garage to match the house.
Well, that's my question. The picture that you provided shows a brick home. That doesn't look brick.
Brick's been painted.
So is that How's the new garage going to match?
Well, Steve, can I chime in? Pardon me? Can I chime in? Sure. Ben Shampoo with Classic Builders. I'm the builder on the project. So the plan, based on what we're adding onto on the lakeside and the roadside, when we make those additions, the brick that's there now will have to be removed, of course. So there'll be very little brick left on the house, pretty much just the two side facades that we're not touching. So the conversations are, do we add brick to the addition on the sides so it, from an appearance standpoint, it looks similar? Do we just take it off? So it'll either be both sides will have brick and the east and west facades will have vinyl siding, or we will remove all the brick and put vinyl siding on the entire house.
In the garage.
And the garage will be vinyl siding either way.
To match the house.
To match the house, yes, sir.
And then page, I think it's 4, is that what the intent for the house?
That's the intent for the house.
So the east and west end of the house will work?
Correct.
So you're taking the roof off as well and going up with a new peak?
Correct. So we're not taking the roof off. We're gonna go over top of it.
Going over top.
But we will change the peak, the pitch of the roof, because right now it's like not even a 412. So we're gonna bring it up a little bit to give it some more character.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Ben.
Anyone in support? Anyone in opposition? All right, motion carried.
Move to approve as presented.
Second it.
Have a motion to approve as presented, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved.
Thank you.
Yes, your motion was for both. Is that correct, Randy?
Yes.
You just said save yourself steps.
Pardon?
So you're saving yourself steps.
Yes. I brought all the files with me.
All right, next exception is exception 2025-109 for Sterling Contracting. And this petition for exception for the purpose of change and alteration of exception 9012E for mineral extraction in an A district. Property is located on the north side of 500 north and 0 feet west of 850 east in 52 Township. Right there, property in question, you can see on the site plan, it's a large acreage. In total, it is 56 acres of ground. Back in 1990, the previous owner, Likens, had petitioned the Board of Zoning Appeals for a mineral extraction. And looking back through the file, their minutes were pretty extensive on it. Looking at the results, he was approved for one of 3 locations he showed. And at that time, he was going to be up in the northwest corner, digging down a hill. No grade, no extraction would happen below grade. Everything would stop at grade. Essentially, that was for his business only. He did seawalls, backfill, that type of materials. Fast forward today, new petitioners in wanting to pick up with the extraction actually in a location that has activity on it. Which we don't quite think it falls into that 1990 approval, but we'll get to that, sure. Right now, video, I'm up at the northeast corner looking into the property off of 850. And you can see that drive goes back into the main property. Looking at the homes on the north side of that tree line, Backwater Road would be just up the way. Looking off to the east of the residences, south or down towards 500. And you can see Bean Field as part of this property. Next shot's going to be back in the property up in that northwest corner where the mineral extraction was approved. Again, there's a hill here at that point in time, and that extraction was to occur, nothing going below grade. Same tree line, there are homes on the north side of that tree line through there. Okay, now I am back down into the site. If you see it on your site plan, that was provided as an packet. This area right here, that pit is on the kind of in the middle of the property on the west end, and panning around, obviously below grade, fairly close to that west property, but it looks like there has been recent activity at least down there. Now I'm in the same area, just kind of moving back up into it. You can see the tree hill line right there, a good 12, 15 feet below grade. The road comes down here. Now that road does continue on to the south down across two other properties that were once part of this property. Ties into 500 North. Since that time, though, those two properties have been sold off. I don't know the status of that access, if that legal easement or whatnot, but they're showing all access out onto E50. For this hearing, legal ad did properly appear in the newspaper and by affidavit surrounding those were notified.
Steve Snyder on behalf of the petitioner. As Matt indicated, we have an existing mineral extraction, maybe not in 100% compliance with what was done 30 years ago. Bob Likens recently passed away. This property was offered for sale. Sterling Contracting purchased the property. They would like to continue the use that Likens was making for his seawall operation. Sterling is in the concrete business. This would benefit their operation. A couple things we have no control over or had no control over at the time the property was purchased. There's been some cleanup done because it was pretty trashy back there. But from an excavation standpoint, the original approval in 1990 said there could be no excavation below the grade of the property to the west. And I think if you would look, and I didn't print out the aerials, but I think if you would look, this is on a hill. This is on a hill, and we may have, the Likens may have excavated approximately 2 feet below the grade on the adjacent property to the west. We can take care of that pretty easily. What we're looking at doing is excavating down to that grade, same as what Likens' approval was, by removing the hill that's on this property. And when the excavation is complete, we restore it to the grade of the adjacent property on the Likens, now Sterling property, and return it to agriculture. I think everybody who utilizes this type of operation for their own business would like the opportunity to sell to that occasional person who comes along and says, look, I'm doing a house a quarter of a mile away. I need a truckload of fill dirt. Can you provide that to me? And there's no question Sterling would like to be able to do that. But if you say it's going to be for Sterling's operation only, we can deal with that too. It's just from a practical standpoint and for the benefit of other contractors to have those occasional loads done. Now, what I anticipate we're going to hear is this is going to be an awful lot of traffic in and out. Well, it won't be an awful lot of traffic in and out. The only time Sterling's going to use this for their own operation is when they're performing a job that makes it more convenient to remove minerals from this site than some other site closer to the job. There could be a month or more when you don't see any activity there at all because there's no job site close enough to justify utilizing this operation. Then again, it may be in operation for 2 weeks when there's one close that Sterling says we can utilize our own property and materials for that rather than buying them from an off-site location. The aerial map, the second page that I provided you, provides the dimensions of the proposed area, maximum area of the excavation. Why lichens didn't start at the northwest corner, I can't answer that question for Bob. But this was utilized by lichen seawall, not intensively, but in a similar fashion to what Sterling would use it for their own purposes. I suppose this could be considered the west area rather than the northwest area, but this is where the hill was. And I think that's probably why Bob started there, because he could remove the hill and still maintain an excavation that was no lower than the property adjacent and to the west. We're not expanding it considerably. We just want the ability to remove what's there, level the property out, ultimately returning it to farm use. I did attach the approvals that Lichens received when he applied for it in 1990 to show you where his proposed sites were for excavation, where his access road was, which is in the same location it is now, trying to explain that we weren't there, but what we see as the potential for mineral extraction, limited as it is, can be made to a certain extent compliant with what was approved 35 years ago. Access, there is that existing lane. That will be the only access to it. We don't have any access off of 500. Again, what we're looking for is simply mineral extraction in the area that's outlined on the aerial photo. An agreement that, to the extent it's been excavated below the grade of the adjacent property to the west, we'll fill that back in, but we will not excavate below that property grade across the fence line to the west. An occasional third-party sale would be practical, but is not essential. Sterling wants it certainly for its own use. Frequency is going to be, as I indicated, as needed, and there could be weeks without any traffic or activity back there at all. Even if there were a third-party sale, it would be minimal and would only occur when there's construction taking place very close that needs a relatively small amount of fill material. The tillable acreage will remain as it's shown on the aerial photo, except in the immediate area of the excavation as we've outlined by dimension on the aerial photo. The finished product will be a level farm field once that hill is removed and all of the excavation is completed. We're listed on Table A, mineral extraction in an agricultural district. It's not dangerous or injurious. It's been there since 1990, used probably in the same fashion the intended use is at this point, and minimal traffic, minimal activity. It's simply not an Elkhart County gravel operation, or you're going to have triaxle trucks driving in and out every 45 minutes. adjacent properties, as you can see from the aerial photo, locating the excavation in the middle of the west line is probably the most practical from the standpoint of adjacent properties. We have agricultural land surrounding this, and it's a significant distance to get to the north property line or the south property line or any residences that might be on 850 East. We have a significant buffer area that's bean or corn, depending on what's going to be planted that season. It's consistent with an agricultural operation. That's shown by what's happened over the last 30 years. And traffic access, traffic is not a problem coming off of 850 on this lightly used trail. Visibility at the intersection at 850 is clear, and we're not putting in a 4-lane highway to get to it. The gravel pathway that you see is going to be what will be there from the standpoint of access. So we're looking at relatively minor activity. We want to continue with the operation that was approved in 1990. We'll bring it into compliance from the standpoint of the depth of the excavation, and will not excavate below the grade of the property to the west. It's surrounded and buffered by all of the agricultural land.
Steve, where's the contractor's main operation? Where's their offices?
The old Deco facility on Backwater Road.
Just to the north and east?
Yes.
Half mile?
Right.
And just for clarification, that wasn't where they started. 1991, they started at the approved location.
Okay.
So just, I went back just to verify before I said that too, but yeah, Bob started where he's supposed to.
Okay, well, he didn't finish where he was supposed to. And we're suggesting that the proposed location on our map is much better than the northwest corner.
Looking at the second page,
Mm-hmm.
in the area, we have outlined there in red. That was determined, I assume, because that's the area of the hill.
Yes.
And you indicated the plan is to restore this when the operation is complete. And we're talking not in real, exact terms here, but based on the current use, how many years are we talking about before that is complete and restored, would you say?
With the anticipated use, 10 years.
And the gravel is the third of the north, that white line, right? That's the gravel path that they take.
Right.
To get in.
Yes.
And what is just to the I'll say northeast or east, that spot in the middle there?
Do you have that on the video?
It's just a wet spot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little wet
Some
spot.
trees or something growing up there?
Yep. Yeah.
And the rest of it looked like soybean?
Yeah, they had soybeans in there next year, correct.
Another question.
Yeah. Just got inflow elevation so you can see what they look like.
All right. Anything else? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone in support? Anyone in opposition?
Yes.
Come forward, please, and give your name and tell us what you'd like us to know.
My name is Bob Merchant, and I'm here in opposition, as you can imagine. I own one of the houses that is across the road on 850. We are concerned several things. We're concerned about the environmental impact. He used some words that were infrequent or words that have various meanings or could have various meanings. So we are concerned that there will be increased noise pollution, dust, and so we would like to have, well, maybe some environmental studies showing how much that impacts those folks, because dust and noise don't stop at property lines. So their other operation, we can hear that at our house, and all these other folks can too, the noise at their other operation. So I would like to know how it is going to impact our environment. And there are trucks that come out, however frequent or infrequent, are going to impact that road for sure. Heavy equipment on a road that was not ever meant to have heavy equipment on, or heavy trucks, will cause deterioration of that structure. Also, that's as I gave you there, it is a ride and walk road. 850 is a ride and walk designated road by the county. So we have multiple people riding and walking on that road daily. We also have, if you look far, well, it doesn't show, farther down is Jellystone. Jellystone, that is the road that all the folks from Jellystone use with their golf carts and so forth to get to North Webster. So there is traffic there, and we're concerned about increased traffic, especially large dump truck traffic, impacting the safety of those folks. What else do we have here? It's also going to decrease property values, I think. Who wants to live around a place? If it's going to take 10 years, they're going to be making a lot of noise for 10 years. And I also have a question. How many cubic yards of earth are they going to move? That depends. If there's a large amount of cubic yards of earth, that means there's a lot of trucks going in and out. And, occasionally selling to somebody, what's occasional mean? Doesn't mean much to me. Occasional can mean lots of things. Every day, every 6 days, once a month. So those are some terms that are quite subjective. Quite subjective. So yeah, we're concerned about the impact on our home values and a quality of life. Dust. My wife has asthma, and I'm sure other folks have some health issues that this would impact. And so therefore, I think that the board needs to really consider this before making a decision for sure. So anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Forward, please.
First off, thank you for your time. Yeah. I'm pretty loud anyhow. First off, thanks for your time. I do have some questions. Oh, my name is Renee Skaggs. I am a resident, been a lifelong resident of North Webster and Tippecanoe Township, and 30 years at the residence that will be the entrance of the lane that they will, I'm on 850, where the proposed lane to the.
You're on the west side? Or east?
I'm the first house, yeah, on the east. I'm the one that has the wooden shed right in front. Keep circling. That property right there.
That would be right. Okay.
Okay. And like I said, I've been there for 30 years. I bought the property when I was 19, my husband and I. And we purchased that property with the whole point of the environment staying true to what it is currently. I do have some questions about the rezoning and it is being temporary. What keeps them from changing their mind if it's zoned? Does anything, I don't know anything about all this. This is the first time I've.
So to answer that question, if the board would approve it, it would be approved as presented. So what they would be approving is that 400 by 715, as well as any other commitments they're making today or approved with conditions. So they would not be able to expand the operation beyond that without coming back to the board of zoning appeals for additional hearings.
Okay, so with it being, how likely would it be able to be changed since they've already got their foot in the door? Because businesses improve, businesses expand. And if they decided that their business is expanding, and their needs are expanding?
I can't answer that. That's predicting too much in the future.
We gotta play chess here, so, it's playing chess. Is a well gonna be used?
Don't know. And some of the questions that if I can't answer, there'll be an opportunity when.
Okay, that's fine. If they can address those, that'd be great. Okay.
Everybody else is spoken.
I love the fact that they did say that it would be turned back into farmland. That's great. But again, I'm just curious to see if their business growth improves or expands, how would they be able to change it? Would it be easy for them to change that? Again, with the roadside, the size of the road that Bob had mentioned, I'd also like to put in there, back when this was rezoned for Bob Likens in 1990, at that time, there was not a bike path put in place for that area. There's currently a bike path for that area and throughout our lake community. That is a huge worry because that particular area.
He gave us.
Yep.
We're familiar with that.
And that was, when that was rezoned in 1990, that path was not put in place. And I'd like you to keep in mind that is a very active bike community. We have children that bike on that community road, as well as walkers and joggers. Sorry, I'm looking through my notes. Bear with me, please. I would like to see also an environmental study and a traffic study done as well, because again, that road is, it's a very small road. And I don't think could support that type of a sized vehicle on a regular basis. If the board would approve something like this, I would like to see buffer zones in terms of berms, landscaping, and dust mitigations, noise, and restrictions of hours of use. This has been our home for over 30 years. I'd like to not see it change. And I'm sure most of our area residents in that same area. It impacts just not the people along that roads, but we have a very large lake community down there as well. And earlier, I know that one of your cases you guys they had spoke about noise with animals being heard a mile away. Think of what our Lakers would think of with big dump trucks in the back of their yard during their cookouts. So, respectively, the restrictions. I think that's the other thing. If this would get approved for the rezoning for that, what would keep it from getting rezoned? Again, this is playing chess, thinking ahead for an industrial purpose further than that. And that's what I would like to see it just stay as it is. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Come forward, please.
No, I'll be all right, honey. Don't wait on me. Don't dismiss
You're
me
fine.
before I get there.
You're fine.
Just had a new knee put in a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy. I won't be long. My name's Ron Baker. I live on 850 on the same side that they're trying to do this. If I could say one thing, I've talked to my father-in-law. I bought it off my father-in-law, and his name was Dennis Rich Creek that owned it. And we've went to like Lucan's about corn stalks blowing in our yard. I mean, our yard is completely covered. And they were gonna do something about it, which had never happened. Is there anything we can get in writing to where this can expand to any further thing and be guaranteed that? Has homeowners around there?
I don't know that they would ever guarantee that. There's nothing that would prohibit them from coming back in at a future time asking to expand. Now, that being said, again, asking to predict the future, which not really sometimes, they're gonna look at, if approved, they look at their past experiences, how they operated, if there were issues, all that would come into play with it, and take that into consideration. I can't say that the board, first off, I can't say if the board's gonna approve or not today, whether or not 10 years, once they hit the limit of this boundary. They would have to come back to the board of zoning appeals to another public hearing such as this at that time.
Okay, and another thing I want you to know is I've had experience driving gravel trucks. I worked at J&M Gravel in Green. I worked at Leesburg. Leesburg was supposed to put their property back to normal and drive by there and look at it. The Leesburg gravel pit. People's drowned it in there and everything else. I know when driving trucks, you spill gravel when you come out of a driveway onto the main road. I know that happens, because I've done it. That's how come I know. And we got school buses going down through there, golf carts, that's legal, going down through there. And if that stuff gets spilled, it's a hazard. It's a hazard to people on bicycles, motorcycles. How can we be guaranteed that's not going to happen?
Okay, you're just asking questions.
I am.
You know that we don't have all the answers.
I know that, but I'm just putting this on the table for you.
Yeah, we understand that. So don't wait for a reply, okay?
Okay, all right. Yeah, okay.
Those are all, what ifs. We understand your concern, but just lay it out there.
And I live on the corner right there where the bean field's at. There is a low line of water stands in field right there beside my property. It seems to drain into there. And I just want to be concerned that that's not going to affect more drainage coming into my property.
Okay.
And that's really my biggest concerns is basically the hazards coming out on the road. So I really feel somebody's going to get hurt. I've seen it. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else?
Oh, he's good. All right. Are you good? Sure.
No, see, stay standing up.
I get it.
Good morning. My name is Melvin Gray. I know this is past your 72-hour limit. We didn't receive notice. Our family owns 79-acre farm on the other side of 500 North. So we adjoin the property that's going to be affected. We're concerned because the water table is very close to the surface in our area. The pond below the house in front of me, that's the water table. Before that was dug out, you could dig down a foot, you would have water.
Where are you, the map?
500 North right here. I'm over here,
This one right here.
right behind.
No, hold on. She's gonna zoom out.
To the right.
No, to the right.
No, to the right.
Like to the right.
No, to the right on the other.
Give you some reference.
The other
So
side.
Here's the church with the cemetery.
Oh, okay. I see what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so this is your acreage here. Okay,
No, that's not right. No,
okay,
right there. Yes.
right here. Okay,
That's our farm.
perfect. All right.
We got 79. But, and also, I'm glad that Mr. Snyder said that right now, you're going to limit the size of the operation. That's a very large gravel vein. When we built on this side of our road, we didn't have to get gravel or sand. It was beautiful. It was like it had been washed. So that vein goes, it was all glacial formed. And it goes extensively in that area. We know that we might have to eventually fight the idea of them expanding. We don't want to see something like the pit at Leesburg, not in the middle of our area. It would do so much damage to land value, the environment. We're just concerned about the environment and the roads. And is there going to be a guarantee that, I know Lycans still own a part of the property along the lane that comes out to 500 North? We would like to have a guarantee that they won't give them permission to use that lane. Because if they've got an operation south, it would be ridiculous for them to come out on 850 to get to it. They would want to come out on 500. That would also involve the road destruction on 500 North. So we'd like to have that taken into consideration also. But like I said, that was late, but I'd appreciate it. But yeah, we didn't get any notice at all.
Your name again?
Melvin Gray.
The notice part I can address. So they are required to notify everybody within 100 feet of the property because the two cutouts that came in, lichens that they retained, that created that buffer in between, so he did not fall into that. I was just looking at myself to kind of figure out.
But we still abut the rest of the property that they own to the east. We go all the way down to 850.
That's what I was wondering. Looks like that's a parcel. It's like there's another cutout parcel around the corner. But we're glad you're here and glad we got your input.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next. Anyone else?
Yeah.
My name is Jonathan Skaggs. That little wet spot that everybody keeps referring to is a little wet spot. I live across the street. You guys talked to my wife earlier, but that is where migratory birds go in and out. I have video. I don't have it with me, but I can get it. You see the big trees growing there. They come from the lake and then they go to there, and then it's like a little nesting area kind of thing. The cranes go in there, the geese go in there. That's why Bob always left that alone. And that hill extends quite a bit into the middle of that property, more so than just what they're asking for. So the future stuff would be a very big concern. We were not notified as people that live right across from the lane. It's right into that easement there. We never got anything in the mail or federal mail or anything as far as that goes. Either that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Your wife just said you did get notified.
It's the people around.
Oh.
Or this, that did not get
We weren't made aware of any of this stuff until it was happening. We always had good approval with Bob. It's disturbing to learn that he went below over there. What's to keep that from happening again? Because if that went unobserved once since the 90s, what else will go unobserved? That's pretty much my questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Gentleman in the back has been trying to get here for quite some time, so.
I'm Cheryl Merchant, and can I use your pointer? On, not on.
Just push the button. Yep.
Don't look at it though.
Right there it is. Okay, so this is our property right here. We purchased this property 5 years ago and tore down the old greenhouse. That was that greenhouse property. Sterling's office is located over here and this development over here. So we're kind of sandwiched in between the two. So when they started really going a few years ago, and I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3 summers ago, they were moving dirt behind their property. And we heard beep, beep, beep all summer long. So, and there is a field in between here that we purchased from Bob Likens. When Deco put this in 35 years ago and they were expanding more and more, we kind of foresaw this happening. And so we bought 7 acres off of Bob, put in trees behind us. So that kind of buffers us from out there. I don't know if they're still over there. They were parking semis out back there and everything else. But our tree buffer really keeps that away from us. Where my house is located, on the front of the house, in the den, is our desk and computer. And so I actually get to see a lot of activity that goes on the road. And I'm not going to go through that again, but there are lots of bikers and walkers. Just to let you know, right out, I can go over here. Here's 850 East. Here's 13. We are the first road parallel to 13. So we do get lots of traffic. For a county road, we have a lot of traffic, especially those 4 or 5 months when Jellystone is open. I mean, there are lots of golf carts going up and down this road. You were talking about how to pull onto Backwater Road, that they were going to have good ways to get their trucks out. Right now, this corner is really bad. Don't want to speak against the people on this corner house here, which sits way close to the road, long before you had setbacks, okay? And they parked lots of vehicles there. We are going to have a very bad wreck here someday because you can't see oftentimes to even pull onto Backwater Road because of the vehicles that are parked within feet of the roadway, a few feet. So you have to, a lot of times, get into the roadway to be able to see to the east. So this is not a good corner. We do get a few trucks on the road even now, because I know Kunz's, they run their grain trucks. This is a problem right here. If ever there was a place for a roundabout, that's it. Because we get trucks sometimes using that road because it's easier to get on at this intersection. So those are just a few of mine safety concerns and whatever that I just wanted to reiterate. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next. Man is to be commended for his patience.
We'll let me go first. Hi, my name is Charlie Bird. We live in the house right behind the funeral home on 500 North on the north side. Yep. I've worked in commercial construction and excavation for the last 10 years, highly involved in the management of operations and stuff. And I don't see how this property could possibly be in compliance with the regulations and the zoning ordinance for the county. Number one, I saw that there was some piles listed on there, different types of gravel and stuff, which means they're going to be processing it, which means this is probably going to be an MSHA regulated pit. If that's the case, there is requirements for backup alarms that range from 87 to 112 decibels, which you're going to hear from a mile away. The dust control, typical thing that they do is put water down to try and eliminate the dust, but it helps, it doesn't eliminate it, and that's only when it's actually taken care of and being done. I've got a whole list of stuff here. The traffic hazard, while it might not be constant traffic when you do have a large commercial site that you're importing fill on or gravel, it's typical to have 15 or 20 trucks running rounds. So you might see 200 truckloads a day coming out of there. And while, it only affects this area when they have properties close, it's going to be constant when it does happen. It's going to happen for weeks at a time. The county roads there are not built for those trucks, and I can assure you they will destroy them. We do it all the time. We're guilty of it, and we fix a lot of roads. So,
Anything new? We've heard a lot of these.
Well, the stormwater contamination, I know we've heard that, but the water table is high. Stormwater contamination is a big thing. The Dorsey Ditch goes right across the southwest corner of that property, feeds across State Road 13, eventually ties into the chain of lakes. So that would be a big concern. It's going to add poor visual aesthetics. It's going to require site lighting per MSHA standards. So MSHA says that you have to have, good lighting for your workers out there on decks and platforms, which means they're raised up. You're going to be able to see that from every direction in order to meet their regulations. I have a whole list of stuff here I'd like to give you. I was not notified. Of course, I was not close enough to get notified, but arguably I'm one of the closest properties to this operation.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? All right, Mr. Snyder, you have the right to respond.
Jeremy, you still there back there?
I am.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Jeremy Meganson, owner of Sterling Contracting. Apparently what we need is some reinforcement as to the activity that's being proposed. And I think that's what the board wants to hear, that we're not 15 trucks a day. And explain to them how you're going to make use of that pit.
Yeah, so Mr. Bird brought some good concerns. We're not looking to put in a professional mine operation that complies with MSHA. We're not looking to put in a well. Somebody brought that up. Over the years, knowing Bob and have been out there a few times and stuff like that, I've never really seen any standing water in that area or runoff, probably because of the condition of the soils being such good drainage. When I was made aware that maybe he didn't comply with the 1990 exception, I looked at the topography map to see the property to the west and look at the 2-foot contours. And that's where, I determined that it looks like in the very deepest spot he excavated, it's possible he did go 2 feet below the property to the west. And that's something, it's not a very big area. It's something we could remediate. We talked about like a 10-year plan, and that is just a big picture, the what if. And that's why we presented the area that we did, so that we weren't coming in 3 years going, well, we took out as much dirt as we were allowed to, and we got to come back. So we looked at something bigger picture.
Address your remarks to the board.
Sure. So the area in question, without going out there and doing a survey on it, but just using the topography map, if we were to take that over 10 years, it comes out to 15 truckloads a week. Like Mr. Snyder said earlier, there's going to be weeks where there's no activity. There could be a week where we got 1 or 2 trucks running, taking out 5 or 10 loads a day because there's a job that it works for. But overall, we feel like the properties or the parcel, the piece of the property that we're looking at is in a good location due to the topography with the elevations and everything. It's also the farthest away from all the neighbors. There was points brought up about buffers and things like that. But when you look at the elevation of the bottom of that area that's been dug out versus the field and the elevation of the neighbors above it, you already have a natural buffer there because you're down in the ground. It's 12 to 15 feet right now. And as we work that area out, we're going to grade that so that the farmer can continue to till it. So we would probably work, that south area first. That's the area that's already closest to the, our boundaries are the closest to what he's already got excavated. We'd probably work that south area and then go ahead and grade that in such a way that he could continue to till it in the near, not 10 years down the road, but sooner rather than later. And then we could move up to the north side of the property and work that. We're not out here to disturb the peace, disturb the neighbors. We're not talking about using haul trucks. We're not talking about using dredging equipment or anything like that. We're talking about a payloader sitting there that can load a truck when it comes in. So
some of the other issues that were raised are certainly a concern. But every time I heard Leesburg gravel pit mentioned, that there's nothing to compare with this tract with what's been done at the Leesburg pit. First of all, it's been there for probably a century. And secondly, it is a commercial mining operation and has a massive amount of traffic in and out and has excavation that goes down in excess of 100 feet. So that comparison doesn't make sense. Secondly, there was a mention of a rezoning. This is not a rezoning. The zoning in this area will remain agricultural. The Plan Commission chose to make mineral extraction an exception use in an agricultural district. And that makes sense because, as in this case, it creates an agricultural buffer around the operation itself. The county highway roads in this area are like any other county highway roads. They have to deal with traffic. They have to deal with trucks. They have to deal with farm equipment. And some of it is much bigger than your average SUV. It is what it is, and the county does an amazing job of maintaining its roads, but they're maintained for the purpose of making them available to the area uses. And this would simply be an area use. Backwater Road in this area is a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. So there may be a bad intersection that's blocked by some person not parking their cars properly. We can't control that. But a truck is going to be able to see much better over a parked vehicle than the SUV or the golf cart that's running from Yogi Bear into Webster. Hours of operation, we're not looking at 24-hour operation. You're probably looking at a standard 8-hour day under most circumstances. There may be some exceptions to that. As Jeremy said, there's no well, so we don't have a concern with that. Groundwater, if the water table's high, that's fine. If we're limited to not excavating below the grade of the property to the west, we're never going to get down to that groundwater table. All we're doing is removing the hill. If you look at the elevations, I believe there's a roughly 20-foot drop from the top of that hill to the adjacent property, from 880 down to 860. And that means when you get down to 860, you're done. You're not going into the groundwater table. That also makes it much easier for reclamation. The idea being to remove the hill, leave the topsoil in place at that level so that when it's all done, you have a level farm field that whoever's farming it doesn't have to go around the excavation pit at this point. There is no access to 500 North, and the access is going to remain the lane as it is. And, we're sorry if maybe we disturb a bird or two, but I don't think we're going to drive any birds out of the neighborhood in the tall trees. Golf carts, I have my own personal opinion about golf carts on county roads, and they're somewhat similar to Amish buggies. They are at risk, and they don't necessarily belong on streets that have a 45 or 55 mile an hour speed limit, but they're there. And drivers accommodate them, and every driver is going to do that. Nobody's going to intentionally run over the Jellystone golf cart. But they're at risk when they're out there, not just from some truck, but from anybody driving on the road. Everybody has to pay attention. As far as compliance with any state or federal regulations, if necessary, sure, this operation will be in compliance. I think you'll find it isn't one that requires licensing or inspections by the Federal Bureau of Mines. It's essentially scraping topsoil and a little bit of gravel off a hill to level it out. I've been involved with the large commercial operations, and yes, there's a lot of precautions that need to be taken when you're digging a hole 100 feet deep in the ground. But this isn't the situation here. We're getting down to grade, and we're taking out whatever is there. And if it takes 10 years, it takes 10 years. We then end up with a nice flat farm field with virtually no interference around the area, because we have all of those farm fields around us, whether it's beans or corn. This is actually a pretty good location for a relatively small mineral extraction operation.
What is the travel plan for the project coming out?
Well, it's got two choices. It's going to come out the gravel drive. It can either go north on 850 or south on 850. If I were hauling, if I'm going east, I don't know which way I'd go to go east, but to go west, I'd go down to 500 because there's a traffic light there.
But out of the pit, it's all going to go north?
North and then east, out to 850. Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Discussion?
Well, I think we need to make sure the public knows that picture on the right with the red shaded, that one, is all we're talking about here today. And it's just gonna be brought down to grade to the field to the west. So that won't support 200 trucks a day. They'll be done,
No, you're out of order.
they'll be done in a week if that's 200 trucks a day. So with all this evidence in mind, I would make a motion we accept this as presented.
We have a motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
No, sir.
We have a second. Okay, discussion. I don't know, we have a large number significant number of people who are very adamantly opposed to this. They may have a little better understanding after what's been presented. I don't know. I'm not sure that all the concerns are 100% warranted, but yet these are the people that live there and are affected by that. I think should it be approved? I can see this coming back as a problem because people are going to be watching every minute, so to speak, of what's going on there. And I just don't think they're not going to want it there. So I've got a different opinion on that. That's my input. But we do have a motion. Any other discussion? All right. So the motion is to approve as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. I think we approve
Chickens go through something that affects our property value.
Ma'am, thank you. You're making it too.
You sound like a racist, man.
No. I have no control of that. It's all leave. Take a breath. Yes, it is. Thank you for noticing. Number 3 in the nation.
Okay, back to the.
Okay. Picking right back up with variance. Variance 2025-268 for John Harriman. This is a petition for variance which permitted construction of a residence addition 20.6 feet from the water's edge, 2.7 feet from the east property line, and 4.6 feet from the west property line. Property is located on the south side of Willow Avenue and 264 feet southeast of Pleasant Grove Road in Turkey Creek Township. Right there's the property in question, and there are different additions planned to the house. So starting on the front side, you can see that garage comes out and the porch area right there. If you can envision a addition coming straight out off that door area, that would be the first one. That one would be within side property line, in line with the house at that point. If you're looking at the site plan, that would be the blue area on the north. Standing around there, you can see the channel across the road. Residences across the channel going up, looking back down Willow Avenue, right through there. Okay, the next shot is of the side. So you can see that bump out window right there. See the little window that's coming off the side? That is the side addition that's supposed to come off, and that is proposed to be at 4.6 feet at 4.6 feet at this corner right there. So coming off this side of the house, the addition would be 4.6 feet to the side property line. The fence is approximately where the property line is. Here we're on the same side, looking back down again. In the lake side, if you can imagine an addition coming off the front of the house, right through there, in line on both sides. And on the east side, it will be 2.7 feet from the side property line. Next shot will show that on the side a little bit better. So again, coming off the front, in line with, coming off that bump out there, coming across, and then in line with the east side of the house, you can see down the shoreline. Right there, kind of seeing right where the addition would be. Right there, 2.7 feet from the sideline, right through there. For the hearing, the live was properly appeared in the newspaper and by affidavits, so I know they're notified.
Steve Snyder on behalf of the petitioner. A couple things to point out. And if you go to the third page, which is the detailed site plan, and I tried to make it as large as I could so that you could actually see those numbers. I'd like to start with the addition on the what's labeled at the top, the channel side, which would be Willow Avenue side. That addition that's 14.2 feet complies with all the setbacks. So we're not concerned with that, other than from the standpoint it modifies a non-conforming use, but it meets all the setbacks. The side addition at that point, next to the west line, is a roughly 2-foot addition in an attempt to make the kitchen cookable. The kitchen is so small that you can't get 2 people in it, and you can hardly turn around in it without running into a cabinet. So they would like to bump that side out 2 feet, which at the overhang will get us 4.6 feet from the west sideline at the closest point. If you go towards the lake with that addition, it's 6.1 feet. And that's because that house, as many around the lake were, isn't parallel with the lot lines. And it wasn't a big deal 100 years ago, but dealing with you guys, it's a big deal. Because now we got one end at 6.1 feet, which is fine, and another one that's short 4.5 inches, meeting the 5-foot sideline setback. But when you look at the video and you could see the house next door, that 6 inches really isn't going to make much difference on the west side. Also, if you look I gotta find it here. There's a letter from Larry and Claire Baumgart, who live on the west side. It's the next to the last page, but they're very much in favor of the improvements that are going to be made to this cottage. They're the only ones who would be affected by either the 2-foot bump out on the west side or the open porch roof that would be on the lakeside. So that brings us to the last portion, which is an addition 20 feet, 20.6 feet from the water's edge. It's not a residence addition. It's a shed roof over the one-story portion of the house to provide a cover over a deck. No sidewalls. The face of the house remains the same, facing the lake. And all we're doing is putting a shed-style roof over it, the full width of the house. That gets us to 2.7 feet at the southeast corner of that shed roof. But it's not even a full 7-foot addition because of the little window, bay window that's on the lake side of the house now. But that blue area that's crosshatched, measured to the drip line, is 20.6 feet from the water, 2.7 feet from the east property line, but it has no walls. It is nothing more than a shed roof and some support posts to keep the roof in place. There's some pretty good reason why the owner wants to put that shed roof there. The last 3 or 4 photos are looking at windows. And because there's no protection for those windows from the south side and it faces the lake, the windows simply rot away. Now, some people must say they must be Pella windows, but others would say, any window is going to be exposed to that kind of weather and be significantly damaged. And as you can see from those photographs, they have been significantly damaged. But I think the key is we've got no protection whatsoever over that front area of the house. And what is desired is to put something over that lower story to protect it and provide some shelter for a deck in that area and the existing concrete steps. I tried to, in the first page, the aerial photo, give you an example of some setback distances in the immediate area. The property to the west has had a bump out addition placed on it that's roughly 20 feet from the water's edge. What we're requesting is roughly 20 feet from the water's edge. The property to the east is 22 feet from the water's edge, and that is measured to the second-story balcony that you saw in the aerial photos. We're very much in compliance with what the setback from the water's edge is in that general area. And we're not even enclosing this area. It's an open, covered porch with nothing but a few posts supporting that shed roof that's going to protect the entranceway and the windows. Is there anything dangerous and injurious about any of these proposed additions? No. We're going to enhance the values. I've given you a full set of elevations, which I usually don't have the privilege of seeing. But as you look at what this house has built and what it will look like when it's as proposed, significant improvements all the way around. On the west side, you can see the west elevation has kind of a barn roof effect to it. So does the east side elevation. That's being completely eliminated. Everything is being re-sided, re-roofed, new windows, and we're really enhancing the values in the neighborhood. We are not really increasing the footprint of this house much, except for the covered porch on the front and the 2-foot bump out for the kitchen. Otherwise, the square footage is staying the same, and all we're doing is covering the front side. So we would like your approval.
Any questions?
There's a generator in air conditioning.
There are none. there's plenty of room in back for them.
Oh, okay. I don't drink.
Yeah. And if you hadn't asked, Randy would have.
All right. Anybody in support? Anyone in opposition?
We do have one letter from.
Somebody's coming.
Okay, from Stacy Spees and Dawn Lance, who are the owners of 6701 in opposition to this.
Sure. Come forward.
I can still say good morning. My name is Perry Glancy, representing 6701 East Willow. I have equitable interest in that property, and I know we spoke a lot about the west side. Well, this is the east side. And the dimensions or the, what Mr. Snyder discussed, the pictures of the elevation doesn't necessarily show in feet, I guess, the overall length of that property or the width of the property. But this particular house already sits out, I'm going to say approximately 4 to 5 feet from the house on the east. With the addition of the porch, I know Mr. Snyder mentioned that there's not going to be a wall, but there's still going to be a roof. There's still going to be a soffit. There's still going to be eaves. There's still going to be a gutter. There's going to be post. And up towards the top of that rendition, there is somewhat of a little bit of a wall. How big? I don't know. But asking for 2.7 feet of encroachment on the property line there to the east is, I don't think anybody in this room would want a structure that close to the property line. And, or going out 15 more feet since they're asking for 20-foot setback. So I guess in illustration of the request, if Mr. Snyder respectfully was sitting there in that chair, which would be on the east side of our porch, and we are looking to his right or the west, 7:30 in the evening, having a glass of tea, we're seeing the lake and we're seeing the beautiful orange sky and the sunset, we could see it. Now, if this variance is approved, and respectfully, Mr. Snyder's sitting in that chair and he looks, basically, he's looking at the screen. It's going to block the view, the enhancement of the lake. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I understand Perry's explanation, and if I were sitting there watching the sunset, I would not be drinking tea. I think one of the things that is always missed is if I put a deck in front of this house, I can extend it, if it's not over 12 inches high, all the way to the water's edge. And then I can put whatever patio furniture I want on that deck. As long as it's not permanently affixed, I can block Perry's view with patio furniture. I don't need to do it with something that's going to be 10 feet in the air that he's looking right under or through. So that's the only complaint I heard was that looking to the west for the sunset, he's going to have a problem with looking at the posts or a little bit of soffit on what's proposed to be a metal roof, shed-style roof over this house. It isn't going to have any effect on him sitting in his front yard watching the sunset. Yeah, that's the direction of the sunset, but he can't see the sunset now because he's further back than anyone else. And we're not talking about an enclosed area. We're talking about an open porch that protects the front of the house, that is supported by 4, maybe 6 posts, and has a shed roof that's probably a metal roof. And in this process, we're getting to completely upgrade a 100-year-old structure to make sure it does comply with everything else. On the west side, I think that's something that's agreed to by the west neighbor. On the east side, the 2.7-foot dimension is the same that's there right now, except right now that runs the full height of the house because it's the corner of the existing house, 2.7 feet from the property line. What we're doing is saying, okay, rather than make us cut that shed roof off, we want to extend it over to 2.7 feet, just like the existing house is. And it's going to be open from, let's assume from 10 feet down to grade, it's going to be wide open with the exception of any patio furniture somebody wants to put on it.
Thank you. All right, discussion, what's your pleasure?
Approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve as presented and it's seconded. Now discussion?
Yes, because it's not getting any closer to the property line than what's already there.
Anything else? All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved.
All right. Next variance is variance 2025-269 for John Gallagher. And this petition for variance which permitted the construction of the new boathouse 0.8 feet from the east property line, 2.5 feet from the west property line, 0 foot from the water's edge, and 5.8 feet from the road right of way. Property is located on the south side of Highland View Drive and 1,193 feet east of Elwood Avenue in Turkey Creek Township. Right there, this property in question currently does have a structure on it. Proposal that structure goes, new structure is built, and you can see what the setbacks. This area should look familiar. We've had a number of different hearings for different boathouses. Main houses are all on the lake side, boathouses on the channel side. They're owned accordingly across the road. With that, then, this building would be built through the process. Pretty well in line right there if you look at the site plan, but they are looking at 0.8 of a foot from the east and 2.5 foot from the west. I don't believe this one's got a boat well, but they're in line at the back. You're going to see that here coming around on the water side. Coming around, you can see that line. That would be the west side currently. See the adjacent boathouse. Just beginning around. There's a pin in that burning bush. You can see it really well. There you go. website, you can see where we approved a number of different ones at 0 feet, some with boat wells, some without, but ultimately all in line at 0 foot. For this hearing, legal I did properly appear in the newspaper and by affidavit, surrounding owners were notified.
Steve Snyder on behalf of the petitioner. When Matt read this off, it may have sounded a little extreme when we're asking for 0.8 of a foot on the northeast corner of the east line and 2.5 feet from the west line. But what is crucial is to take a look at the elevation that's proposed of this building. We've got two dimensions that play in here. The elevations are on the third from the last page. And what makes the setbacks sound so bad are the overhangs that are proposed. We have two sets of dimensions, one that will be on the first floor and the other that will be on the second floor. I mean, this is a residence, and it's like a lot of those structures on the south side of Highland View Drive. They've got garages below and residences above. They're all separate lots on Highland View, except for those that may have been combined if it was just an accessory building on the south. But there are a couple that actually don't have any lakefront properties to go with them, and they're residences on the channel side. But, be that as it may be, it's the overhangs that create what sound like minuscule setbacks. So from that standpoint, I'd like to go to the survey right now, which is the third page, and just show what's already there from a standpoint of the west line setbacks, which are 4.4 feet from the southwest corner and 3.7 feet from the northwest corner. And then if you take a look at our site plan, we've got the dimensions in red and blue. The blue dimensions are from the second story, and the red dimensions are from the first story. So looking at the right-of-way setback from Highland View Drive to the second story, it's 5.8 feet. But then there is a 5-foot overhang on that side, which means the garage doors or that wall will be roughly 10 feet, 8 inches from the road right-of-way. That's pretty normal as you look all the way along Highland View Drive on the channel side. Those are very narrow boat lots, if you will. And as a result, even though you're 0 feet from the water, you're still going to be 5 or 10 feet at best from the right-of-way. Then looking at the west line, we're not much different than what's there now. Closest point would be 4.2 feet from the west line, 4.4 feet at the southwest corner. And again, the blue line represents the overhang and the red line represents the second or the first story. So the 0.8 of a foot shown in the upper right-hand corner is one that raises eyebrows. But from the actual side wall of the house, it will be 2.6 feet at the northeast corner and 4.1 foot at the southeast corner. The overhang will be 2.5 feet at the southeast corner, even though it's only 0.8 feet at the northeast corner. Again, we have a structure that is going to be parallel with the seawall, which does not make it parallel with the side lot lines. So we have dimensions that vary from the north to the south because of that angle. When you look at the elevations, we're looking at a significant structure that is going to be a very attractive structure. Unique, yes, but not unusual for that neighborhood, as you saw on the video. We provided you with the floor plan showing 3 bedrooms, kitchen, living area, 2 baths upstairs, and a 3-car garage with storage area below. That's not unusual for the channel side of Highland View Gardens. Again, I think the thing that makes it startling is that 0.8 foot setback at the northeast corner. But just keep in mind, that's the setback on the 2nd story overhang. The 1st floor wall is 2.6 feet from that sideline, which is quite normal along Highland View boat lots.
Well, Randy gets a chance to ask him about mechanicals. I don't see any mechanicals shown on this thing.
If there are any mechanicals, they would be within the drip line and the 1st story floor wall. Yeah, I mean, we've got.
I know you're, but yeah.
Yeah, we've got a 5-foot overhang on the northeast corner. So, you know, that wall's going to be 10.5 feet from the right of way. So we've got room to put mechanicals under there. Even though there's a non-conforming air conditioner there now.
I don't know this thing, just look at the age of it.
It's been around a while.
I see that. I wasn't gonna say that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Anybody here for this case?
No, that's fine.
Right.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved.
Thank you.
All right. Last case we have on the agenda today is variance 2025-277 for Jennifer and Philip Waddle. In the petition for variance to commit allowing a second residence to remain in a pole barn, mobile homes to be removed for storage. No time frame on removal of mobile home in a district. Property is located on the east side of 60 feet west and 875 feet north of 100 North Anderson Township. Right there is property in question. That pole barn right there was originally built in conjunction with a business. There was a business on this property that was approved back in 2007, and that was a catering business. At that time, the building was built more for cold storage than anything. For the permit, no sewage, water, or anything of that nature. The owners do now have it, and there's the mobile home. Sun just blocks it out.
Yeah, it's behind the shed.
So, the owners bought it, have converted it into a residence, and based off of what our understanding is, the mobile home is just being used as a storage building.
Yeah, no, we didn't ever say that.
Okay. I'm just reading on it. So ultimately what they're asking is to allow the mobile home to remain and the residence in the pole barn to remain. And around the area. Rural area we're in. Property in the background. Yeah. Pole barn and mobile home.
We're kind of hidden.
So there's the mobile home right there. Pole barn is the second residence. For this hearing, legal ad did properly appear in the newspaper and by affidavit. Surrounding owners were notified. You're on.
All right. Excuse me, I'm Jennifer Waddle. I can't even talk. We're not going to use the trailer for storage. It's going to be torn down. But that's why we got the new shed. And that's the storage. But we lived in that trailer. We've lived there 13 years.
And the building was there, and we knew we wanted to turn it into our residence because that's the selling point they gave us. And we never went outside the footprint of it. It already had electricity, it already had water, it already had a well, or, so everything, bathroom. We made it a house. It's a 2-bedroom house now, 2 bath.
So Jeffrey, your plan is the mobile home, no one's living in it, it's gonna be removed.
Yeah, but my husband said hopefully by the end of next summer, because they have to tear it all. Like they're gutting it this winter, and then when they can next year, then they'll tear down the outside. It can't be moved out. When we bought that property, we never got a title. It's no axles under it. The tongue's been cut off. All we can do is demolish it.
Okay.
So we're going to.
And all the materials that are being demolished will be removed from the property, we're not gonna leave them.
We're gonna have to get dumpsters, I guess. There's not even metal siding to turn in, it's all vinyl. So it's gonna have to all be just doing the trash.
Okay.
Who's your sidekick?
My moral support, my husband's at work. Angela Waddle, her husband's at work. And I didn't want to come along. I was with them when they did all this.
You're related.
Yes, yes. Sister-in-law, ex-sister-in-law.
If we would put a time limit on it, you said, he hoped.
He said to tell you by the end of summer, but hopefully way before that.
Next summer.
Yes.
So by, say,
So like,
first,
yes, that works.
that you'll be gone, all components.
We're tearing it down and somebody else, they want the frame and they'll get it out of there. We already have somebody for that. We just want it out of there.
It's better than the gravel pit. That was 10 years. I mean.
Don't keep the warrants.
You don't want to do that.
But honestly, if I knew that we needed to, but we would have came in here. I didn't know since we didn't go without the footprint of what was already there that we even needed. So that's my fault.
Yeah, as long as you live up to your side of the bargain.
Yeah. Now, I have a question though. If today we're making it a 2 residence, if it passes, then September 1st next year, the trailer to be gone. Does it stay 2 residents? Can my son build back by the woods, say 5 years from now?
No.
Even 5 acres?
I think what's making it, I'm speaking for the board here, but I think what you're seeing in their faces relief and makes this easier is that it disappears.
Okay.
And the goal is, I'll be honest with you, we're gonna say that thing stays, it's gotten a lot tougher. And so to put a new residence on there,
Mhm.
now we can always look, see if you have divisions, there's some other avenues we can look into, but just to ask for a second residence there.
Yeah, we do not allow a second resident, 2 residences on the same property.
Right.
Now, sometimes there are very extenuating circumstances that we try to work through.
Yeah.
And then there are mentioned other ways you can
Maybe split
look
the
at it,
property.
but
Yeah.
as a rule, no.
Okay. Okay.
Part of the problem is exactly what we're dealing with here is, you had 2 residences and.
Well, nobody lives in the trailer,
Well,
but yeah.
No, but buying it and luckily.
We thought we did.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have a question. Why is there 2 addresses on that one?
Yeah.
So the building that you are living in, the pole barn, that was addressed as for the business.
Oh,
That was
okay.
built in conjunction to a catering business.
Yes. Yes.
So they had an address, a separate meter is my guess on it, and probably wanted an address for the business.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, it's its own septic and everything over there.
All right. Any questions? Thank you, lady.
Okay, thanks.
You may.
I have one more question if I can.
Yeah.
It's about this. My understanding is after this hopefully gets approved, then we gotta do something else to establish it as a residence.
So you'll need to get an improved location permit, which is the use that's gonna happen.
Okay.
Right now, we just recognize it as a commercial building, you'll need to get that permit. You're going through the steps, just making sure the health department's signing off, that the use is not impacting that, whatever solution is out there, and that would be draw off, so.
To go back to area plan
Yeah,
again?
assuming they approve it, then that's your next step.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Motion, we have a motion to approve, seconded? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Stipulation, trailers going.
Okay.
One
Okay.
Yes, I got that.
You got
all
all
three.
All right, okay. Motion to approve but remove the trailer by September 2026.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Okay.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Yes.
Do you have anything else before we do that?
No, I am done.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned. If you want to stay
Personal
around,
or another, when do
supper,
I
you
have
can
to
do
go
that.
start that second step?
Anytime within the next 30 days, you need to have that permit pulled, and that'll be the results. You can do it anytime after this 4